Met Usher, yeah, Usher. I met him when he was 14, and my book actually opens with that because it was one of the highlights in my career. At 14 years old, this young guy comes walking into my office, and he starts singing. And I stop him early and say, wait a minute, hold up, this is too good. I need to go get some girls. So I bring all the girls from the office in, and Usher drops down on one knee and starts singing it to the prettiest girl in the room and starts seducing her with his eyes. He's 14.
Yeah.
And he has no fear, no anxiety, no nervousness, and he goes in and he nails it. And I'm like, okay, thank you, and welcome to LaFace Records.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty.
I know, and people know, that was around there in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know.
Welcome back. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to get your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Everybody's been locked in on Diddy's trial, but what nobody expected? Usher stepping up and blowing the whole thing wide open. Out of nowhere, Usher came swinging. No slick shade, no vague hints. According to insiders, he pulled up with straight-up evidence, recordings that could pin even heavier charges on Diddy than folks imagined. And the bombshell? Diddy didn't just cross lines. He allegedly sent Usher to the hospital after crossing a boundary that should have never been touched. Now, let's be real clear. What you're about to hear comes straight from public reports, court whispers, and wild internet leaks. But if this flips how you see things, don't blame me. I'm just putting the puzzle pieces together. Word is, Usher's been muzzled for years, locked under NDAs, hush money, and even threats that kept him quiet. But now, the silence is done. Allegedly, he's got the goods, taped phone calls, secret footage, even old-school voice memos dating back to 2004. That's over 20 years of grime, and Usher might finally be ready to air it all out. With this trial heating up and more celebrities getting dragged into the spotlight, Usher might just be the one to detonate the whole courtroom. And here's the twist. Some say he was one of the first victims to really see Diddy for who he is, and now he's coming for justice. All this, it started way before Cassie. And according to folks close to the situation, this ain't about getting payback, it's about survival. Usher wasn't just in the mix, he was put in it. At just 14, he was sent to live in Diddy's house and saw it all. The wild parties, hidden cameras, strange auditions. He wasn't just watching, he was trapped in it. Now, he might be the key witness that finally brings it all crashing down. Let's take it back. Usher was just 13 or 14, freshly signed to LaFace Records by L.A. Reid. He was just a kid, full of talent, dreams, and no clue what was coming. But instead of protecting him like he should have, L.A. Reid made a shocking call. He sent Usher straight to New York to live with Sean Puffy Combs, the man already known for his out-of-control parties and chaotic lifestyle. Even Reid later admitted that move might have been a reckless mistake. But what happened inside that apartment? That's where things get real dark. A source close to Harlem's old scene claims Usher was hospitalized after something went down in there. Yeah, it got that serious. Word is, industry insiders were whispering about it for years. They weren't naming names at first, but stories were spreading fast about someone young being found bleeding, and not from a minor injury either. Back then, nobody knew it was Usher they were talking about. But now, people are connecting the dots, and it's not looking good for Diddy at all. Back then, Usher didn't even realize the full weight of what he was being dragged into. In one old interview, he casually dropped a detail that hit different years later. He was sent to Diddy's so-called flavor camp at just 13 and ended up living with him for an entire year. But that camp, that was just the start. Later on, when someone asked Usher what life inside Diddy's house was really like, he didn't spill everything, but he definitely didn't stay quiet either. He said it straight. The place was packed with women and the vibe was wild. He kept it vague, but the way he said it, you could feel something was off. He even admitted he didn't fully understand what he was seeing back then. Meanwhile, Diddy, he was playing it smooth on the outside, but then came the moment that exposed way too much. There's still a clip floating online from one of his live streams, and man, he slipped up bad. He started talking about how he and Usher used to wake up together, then paused and tried to clean it up mid-sentence. He laughed it off like they were just arguing over cereal, Frosted Flakes or whatever. But the vibe immediately changed. Everyone around him looked uncomfortable, like they couldn't believe what he just said out loud. That one moment, it told the truth Diddy never meant to let slip. But it gets darker, way darker. One report claims Usher was sitting at a dinner table with Diddy, N.O., Jimmy Iovine, and Cassie. And what went down that night? Disturbing. Diddy allegedly punched Cassie in the stomach right there at the table, in front of everyone, and not a single man at that table said a word. People who read that report were quick to point something out. Usher's got a daughter, so watching him freeze like that, facing something so violent, so real, shows just how deep this mental grip ran. These artists weren't just scared, they were conditioned, controlled, broken down to stay quiet even when the worst was happening right in front of them. But now, Usher seems to be waking up. And this ain't about one moment. It's part of a long chain of manipulation he was forced to accept just to make it out alive. That silence he kept, that came from years of being told to act like it was normal. Over time, survival turned into silence, and silence turned into complicity. And here's where things take an even colder turn. Usher didn't just survive it, he became a part of it. Under Diddy's control, Usher eventually brought another young talent into the exact same world. Justin Bieber. Justin was just 13 when he was introduced to that circle, too young to see what was coming, too young to protect himself. In one interview, L.A. Reid even admitted it. Usher brought Bieber to him as a gift. Let that sink in. It gets even creepier. In one shocking detail, it was said that Diddy was given temporary guardianship over Justin Bieber for 48 hours. Let that sink in. A teenage pop star handed over like property, and people are just now putting the pieces together. Then there's this clip, real unsettling. Diddy looks straight at Bieber and asks, "You wearing a wire?" Like he knew something was about to explode, like he'd been hiding too much for too long. And Usher, he's catching heat now too. No more dodging accountability. People close to the situation are calling him out for delivering Bieber straight into the same mess he barely survived himself. One comment online hit hard. Usher was one of Diddy's first. Handing over Bieber makes him just as guilty. That's the weight of it. As more old clips, confessions, and stories resurface, fans are looking back and spotting the red flags that were always right there. Ignored, dismissed, or silenced. And it goes beyond Usher and Bieber. Even Freddie P., known from the group Da Band, spoke out. He said Diddy allegedly manipulated his own son, kept him isolated, spoiled him with gifts, and kept him dependent. Why? Because if those closest to him ever turned, they'd know too much. He built loyalty through control, not love. And here's where it gets real uncomfortable. Even Diddy's relationship with his own mother had people talking. In one video, he kisses his 83-year-old mom right on the lips, calling her Mom Dukes like it's just cute. But to many watching, the vibe was way off. Diddy's mom didn't stay in the shadows either. In one clip, he joked about taking her to strip clubs, saying she was single and ready to mingle. Sounds like harmless fun, until people noticed something odd. She was also seen wearing white nail polish, and if you've been paying attention to this case, you already know what that detail allegedly symbolizes. But this rabbit hole, it goes way deeper. Gene Deal, a former bodyguard and respected name in the industry, dropped a major bomb. He claimed Diddy's mother used to run a modeling agency, but behind the scenes, it was allegedly a front for escort services. Even more disturbing, he said she didn't just influence Diddy's behavior, she was reportedly joining in on those infamous freak-off parties. That's not just questionable parenting, that's next-level twisted, and fans have started noticing. One user said straight up, "She always gave me weird vibes." Probably messed with him early on. And when you start connecting all these names, Usher, Bieber, Cassie, Diddy's own kid, even his mom, it stops looking like random drama. It's a pattern. Still, not everyone's letting Usher off the hook either. Another user put it blunt. Usher might have started as a victim, but he turned into an enabler. And when it comes to Justin Bieber, most agree. He's still showing signs of being deeply affected. His adult behavior, his silence, the breakdown, it all points to someone who never healed. Now people are demanding the truth. How far did this go? Who knew what? And when will every single person involved finally be held accountable? And it ain't just internet rumors anymore. More insiders are cracking. Former assistants, choreographers, and studio crew who used to work with Diddy are starting to speak up behind the scenes. Whispers are turning into conversations, and conversations into confessions. Some of them reportedly saw things they still won't talk about on record, but what's already been leaked is shocking enough. One former Bad Boy affiliate claimed that certain parties were invite-only, and everyone knew what that meant. Phones were taken at the door, NDAs were handed out like candy, and new talent was paraded around in front of elite guests. And guess who was spotted at those events more than once? Yep, Usher, and sometimes Justin too. A source close to the studio said there were times when recording sessions would suddenly get shut down, so something private could go down in the same room. The engineers and assistants were told to leave, no questions asked. But everyone knew, because the stories always came back the next day. Some said the vibe was creepy, others flat out called it predatory. And now as this case unfolds and old footage resurfaces, the whole machine is being exposed. What once felt like random scandals now looks like orchestrated chaos, planned, protected, and repeated. And for the first time, the people who once stayed quiet out of fear, they're starting to realize the truth might finally be louder than the silence they were forced to live in. What's wild is that so many people knew something was off, but they stayed silent. Big names, legends, executives, some of them even joked about it over the years. There's an old clip where Kevin Hart teased Diddy on live TV saying, "You always do weird stuff at your parties, man." And Diddy just laughed it off, like it was some running joke. But now, folks are looking back at that moment with a whole different lens. And it's chilling. Even Charlemagne the God once hinted at feeling uncomfortable around certain industry figures, saying there were rooms he didn't want to walk into. He didn't name names, but he didn't have to. Everyone watching knew exactly who he was talking about. And here's what's really hitting people. If this is what was happening to known artists like Usher and Bieber, imagine what went down with the nameless faces, the ones who never made it, the dancers, assistants, young creatives who got too close to the fire and vanished from the spotlight. There are rumors of folks quitting the business altogether after one night at a Diddy event. No explanation. Just gone. The industry protected itself for years with money, fear, and fame. But now, that shield is cracking. People are replaying old interviews, side-eyeing past statements, and finally asking the real questions. This isn't just about one man. This might be about an entire system built to silence and exploit. And the cracks are turning into earthquakes, and now the trauma is showing. In real time. Justin Bieber's breakdowns ain't just random mood swings. Fans are now piecing together that his emotional spiral could be tied to what he witnessed and experienced as a kid under that same industry umbrella. He's been caught on camera crying during performances, having public meltdowns, even canceling full tours with no warning. People used to call it burnout. Now, they're starting to call it damage. Insiders say Justin's team has been trying to keep him away from anything tied to Diddy ever since this case reopened. One source claimed that Justin wants nothing to do with anyone from that circle, and honestly, who could blame him? Meanwhile, Usher's silence over the years is catching up to him too. There's a noticeable tension in every interview lately, like he's walking on a tightrope, careful with every word. He's been around too long, seen too much, and now folks are demanding more than just vague comments and sidesteps. They want truth. They want accountability. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. Several other young artists from the early 2000s are reportedly considering coming forward too. Quiet for decades, but now watching the house of cards shake. It's not just about exposure anymore. It's about release, about finally letting go of the pain, fear, and shame they've carried for years. Because once the first voice breaks through the silence, others start to follow. And this time, it feels like the music industry's dark past might finally be facing its reckoning. It's insane how all these stories keep linking up like one massive puzzle, piece by disturbing piece. The timelines, the victims, the footage, the silence. It's not random anymore. It's a pattern. And now, the real question is, can Usher ever make it right? Or has the damage already run too deep? Is this finally the moment where the machine gets exposed? Where Diddy faces consequences he never believed would catch up to him? Or are we still just scratching the surface of something way bigger? Let it sink in, and then ask yourself, how far does this really go? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.